back into it in Chester. Here's El Senior. Yes! Yeah!
The center back, Jacob Glesnes.
He's going through.
Yes! Oh, what a goal! What a goal!
And that will do it. One of the best comebacks in recent years. 3 unanswered by the Union. And they go into the Gold Cup break, winning it 3.
Hello and welcome to the Free Kick Podcast. My name is Todd. No, this isn't going to be me giving my thoughts about Brendan Aronson's sale to Salzburg, nor is it going to be me talking about the Supporters' Shield getting canceled more than halfway through the season. If you want to hear my thoughts on Brendan Aronson, you can go ahead and check out the podcast that I was on over the weekend, which is called Stateside Soccer Show. Find it on Twitter and everything. I retweeted it and everything. I had a blast talking with Jordan, all things Union. We talked for a good, 45 to 55 minutes and everything, just everything Philadelphia Union, whether that be a review of the DC United game, whether that was a quick preview for this New England Revolution game, like I said, that Brendan Aronson sale. But at the time when we were recording, we thought that the Supporters' Shield was still going on and everything. And right after we got done talking and everything, recording, then we read online that it got canceled. And so on Tuesday, you guys are going to have to wait, and I'll dive into Brendan Aronson's sale to Salzburg a little bit more, talk about the Supporters' Shield getting canceled, all that good jazz, reviewing this game, hopefully a Union victory, but I'll get to my prediction a little bit later on into this episode. So just right now, this episode, it's just going to be me previewing today's New England Revolution versus Philadelphia Union game. Try to get a couple people on from New England side of things, just people already had other commitments and everything, so I'll try to get through this within 15 minutes, hopefully. Every time I always say it's going to be shorter than what it is, it winds up being longer. But anyway, just looking at New England's game against the Montreal Impact, New England are coming off of a 3-2 victory on the road in Red Bull Arena against Montreal. New England, at the time, they were up 2-1. And the goals came from Mane, Busquets, and Bunbury for New England. And I thought just overall New England, they pressed really well, caused a lot of problems for that Montreal midfield. Busquets was timing his runs really, really well, causing all sorts of havoc for that Montreal defense. And he got a goal, got an assist, and yeah, I mean, he looked really good, and this is a striker who's been in form as of late, whether that's scoring goals, getting assists, just really making really, really good runs. And I thought overall just the front six for New England were really good against Montreal, whether that be Bunbury, Polster, Rowe, Fagundes, Mane, and like I said, Busquets had a goal and an assist, also had a yellow card in that game, but it didn't matter and everything because New England, like I said, went on to win that game 3-2. And I know New England, they gave up 2 goals against Montreal, but that's not really concerning to me in my opinion because they rested all their starters in defense minus Butner. So I'll look for Farrell, Kessler, and Bai to all come back into the starting 11 this week to reclaim their spots. New England, they've only allowed the third fewest goals in MLS this season with 16 goals, which is tied for the Union. We know ever since Bruce Arena came in, took over for Brad Friedel, that New England have played really, really good defense. The goals haven't been there as much as Bruce would probably like and everything, but the one thing that he fixed was that leaky defense that New England just constantly put up when Brad Friedel was in charge, and now that's not a concern for New England. And Matt Turner has been an outstanding goalkeeper. I've said all along this season, I think Andre Blake's probably been the best goalkeeper in MLS, and Matt Turner is not too far behind because if you look at the last 5 games for New England, they have 3 wins, 1 tie, 1 loss. And in those 5 games, they've kept 3 clean sheets in those matches. And like I said, I mean, just going back to my point, giving up 2 goals against Montreal, when you're not starting Farrell, Kessler, and Bai, goals are going to happen. And Bai's been one of the best right backs in MLS all season long. And yeah, I have no problem saying that. Butner's been a good signing for New England, the ex-Manchester United man. I mean, he doesn't have the speed like he once had and everything, but you can't take away his abilities of sending in crosses from the left side of the field for New England. That's exactly what he's been doing plenty of this season for New England. Got an assist in this game, played a beautiful ball into Theo Bunbury, and I know at the time they gave the goal, and then they're like, okay, let's go look at VAR. I think this is offsides, and then they're like, oh no, the goal stands, and we know VAR has caused problems not only in MLS last week, but then you look at the Premier League. Yeah, VAR is definitely definitely better here in America than it is, it seems, over in England and everything. But you never want a game to come down to VAR, and luckily for the New England fans, VAR got the right call, and at the time, New England went up 2-0. And I know overall the Union have a really good record against New England with 15 wins and 27 games played. Now, that's only in the regular season, not counting MLS's back or anything else. But this is the fourth time the Union have played New England this season, and that is including MLS's back. And the Union in these 3 games, not including this game coming up, because obviously we don't know the result, the Union have 2 wins, 1 draw against New England on the year. And I said this over the weekend on the Stateside Soccer podcast, that you look at NFL teams. If a team has beaten a division opponent twice in the regular season and they meet again for a third time in the playoffs, it's really hard for that team to win all 3 of those games against that same opponent. And I kind of think that it could potentially be the same thing for the Union. And I know the Union have 2 wins so far against New England. Why not get 3? And don't forget, we play New England again for the last game of the season, 5 times seeing the same opponent. I mean, just because the Union have 2 wins and they have 15 wins in 27 games against New England, that tells you that, yeah, the Union have their number. I just don't see in 5 games, I don't see the Union just continuing to win. I mean, the loss has to be in there someplace, and if a loss comes, it's definitely going to be away at New England, especially with how the midfield looks without Ali Bedoya because of too many yellow cards. You look at Jose Martinez is quarantining because he was away on international duty. So who knows what that midfield is going to look like. I'll definitely give my thoughts on a predicted lineup and everything a little bit later on. But, I mean, I go back to that game against New England where they came to Subaru Park and we beat them 2-1 because Anthony Fontana scored an extra time. That game could have ended in a draw, in my opinion. The Union, at the start of the game, they looked really good. They looked promising, but they allowed New England to find a way right back. And the Union were also up a man in that game, and that didn't stop New England from attacking and finding the equalizer. And if it wasn't for Anthony Fontana being in the right place, right time, game could have definitely have ended in a draw. And if I'm not mistaken, I think New England had a couple chances too to go ahead in this game, even though they were a man down. So I'll go ahead and give my 3 keys to a game, and they are as followed. Key number 1, you got to control Busca. The Union, the last couple times the Union have played New England in those 3 games, they've done a good job keeping him quiet, but he's a striker who I said a little bit earlier, he's been on fire as of late. He's scoring goals, he's getting assists, he's making really good runs, troubling the opposition center back. So the Union, number 1, I have to say, you got to keep him in check, because if you do that, I think you have a really good chance of winning the game. We know that he's a tall, physical striker and everything. He has no problem going up, causing problems for center backs. He'll make the game very, very uncomfortable for the center backs, and more times than not, whether that be Mark McKenzie, Jacob Glesnes, or Jack Elliott, they've done a good job keeping opposing teams' center backs in check and everything. But I feel like Busca is a different breed. I mean, there's no wonder why New England paid DP money for Busca from the Polish league and everything. He's 24, 25 years old, I believe. And this guy, obviously, he knows how to score goals, because if he didn't, they wouldn't be paying DP money. But his game's so much more than scoring goals. And like I said, a big part of his game is getting up there, being physical with center backs, whether that's in the air or on the ground too, just shoving center backs off. So the Union got to do a good job keeping Busca in check. Like I said, the last 3 games we've played New England, they've done a good job of that. But Busca is starting to find his form and everything, and that's definitely scary when a striker's red hot. Point number 2, they've got to win the midfield battle, because the last time the Union played against New England, McNamara and Rowe, I thought they were dominating the midfield, in my opinion. They forced 6 interceptions between the 2 of them, while they also had 4 tackles between the 2 of them. And like I alluded to a little bit earlier ago, I have no clue what the midfield's going to look like for the Union. Like I said, Martinez is out due to quarantining. You have Ali out because he has too many yellow cards. So I'm sure the midfield's not going to be flashy. I mean, a lot of people are like, let's see Ordvats. I don't think it's happening. I said that last episode. I gave my reasons why. Could it be Warren Craval? Who knows if he'll be back from injury? You're not going to start Cole Turner. And I'll go ahead when I give my lineups. I'll tell you who I think is going to start in that number 6 position. I don't think it's a midfielder, so a lot of you guys probably know who I'm already talking about. So, point number 2, you got to win the midfield battle. And number 3, you've got to put the game away. Last time we played the New England Revolution, everybody knows this game should have been done and dusted for the Union. New England, like I said, we're playing with 10 men. We were up 1-0. We allow New England to find their way back in the game, and we've seen that a couple times already this season where we should have been beating DC by more than 1 goal. We allow them to come back, and I already said why they got the 2 goals. Not going to go over that again. Toronto, we got 1-0 early on because of Sergio Santos, and Toronto finds a way back. We couldn't finish off our chances. Jamiro Montero hit the crossbar in that game. We had a couple chances against Columbus, couldn't put them in the back of the net, and we all know Columbus won that game 1-0. So, yeah, I want to see if the Union find a way to go up a goal. Don't take your foot off the gas and just keep at it. Whether you're up 1-0, 2-0, keep going until it's 3-4-0 and everything, because there's 3 games I mentioned when the Union should have put those games to bed. They didn't, and 2 out of 3 of those games, the Union lost. And could have lost against DC, but they found a way back. So, yeah, just don't let your foot off the pedal. My predicted lineup for this game before I give my predictions, what I think the Union are going to do. Obviously, Andre Blake in the goal. Ray Gaddis starting as right back. Jim Curtin last week alluded to Ray Gaddis probably not playing against DC United because he's saving him for New England. And who knows who's injured, who's not, because I don't believe Jim Curtin did a press conference over the weekend. And the 2 center backs, I think it's going to be Mark McKenzie. And if Jacob Glesnes is out of concussion protocol, I think he'll slide in there for Jack Elliott. And then on the left, it's going to be Kai Wagner. And here's what everybody knew I was going to say. As the number 6, no, not Warren Craval, not Ordvats. It's going to be Jack Elliott. We saw him play plenty as a number 6 for West Virginia University back in his college days. We saw, I think, in a game or 2, Jack Elliott filled in as a center back, which was pretty telling. We're like, okay, he has Ordvats on the bench, and he's a natural defensive midfielder, and he's putting Elliott there. So I think if Glesnes is out of concussion protocol, we'll see Jack Elliott as the number 6. With Bedoya out, we'll see Aronson again at the number 8. We'll see Montero there, the opposite of Aronson. And at the top of the diamond, we'll see Anthony Fontana. The 2 strikers, I know a lot of people want to see Corey Burke, but I don't see it being Corey. I don't think his fitness levels are there yet, so it's going to be Casper and Sergio Santos. But if we're a goal down, or even if we're up 1-0, 2-1, whatever it may be, I see Corey Burke coming into this game and not Andrew Wooten at all, unless we're super desperate. Then Jim brings on all of his attacking options. But yeah, I think Andrew Wooten's days as a Union player, his minutes are numbered, and I talked about that again last episode. But yeah, that's my starting 11 if everybody's healthy. And like I said, if the Union, they play New England 2 more times, there's no way the Union win both of those games. So yeah, they could potentially draw both of them, but I do think the Union are going to lose this game 2-1 with no Bedoya, with no Martinez, and you have that makeshift midfield. Yeah, this defense just with Ray Gaddis, Mark McKenzie, Glesnes, Wagner, that's good defense. We've seen that plenty of times this season, but putting Elliott as the number 6, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I mean, like I said, he's done it in college. We've seen him do it a couple times this season, but I'm not wild about it. I think he can do the job, but Jim, we all know he's not going to play Ordvats. If he does, I'd be super duper surprised. And hopefully Fontana, Aronson, they could be on their game. Like I said, last game against DC United, we've got to get good service into the strikers. So hopefully Aronson, Fontana, and Montero could be providing those chances for Casper and Santos, because Jack Elliott is not going to be going forward at all. The only time he'll go forward is on corner kicks or free kicks. But yeah, that's my prediction: 2-1 New England victory. I hope I'm wrong. I'll take a draw on the road, honestly. But yeah, I feel like New England's bound to get one on us this season, and why not be at their place? So yeah, that's my prediction. That's kind of what to look for New England and everything. If you guys aren't following the podcast on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, follow at Free Kick Pod. Go ahead and check out the website, thefreekickpodcast.com, wherever you get your podcasts, The Free Kick, Todd Lewis. And like I said at the beginning of the episode, why not, if you guys want to hear my thoughts early on about Brendan Aronson, go ahead and check out the Stateside Soccer Show. Like I said earlier, I retweeted that, so you guys can find it super easily. I'll leave a link to that in the show notes if you guys are too lazy to check on Twitter. But until then, my name is Todd, and this is The Free Kick Podcast.